Maybe feeling into where we hold ourselves still, where we seek stillness in our body. If it comes through balance or relaxation, or focusing our mind. Imagining that stillness being like the bandwidth of a radio. It starts quite wide without much focus. And we just gradually refine it, feeling that alignment. Feeling the sense of flow, like a stillness that arises out of the flow. The lack of limits. And imagine ourselves falling lightly like feathers, more and more held. We're feeling how we're held in that softness. So we're coming down into the ground, but in the softest way, the most comforting way possible. We're feeling that divine embrace. Really focusing on how that feels, how it feels to be supported, to be loved, to be understood, to be able to let go of everything we think that we're holding on to and controlling and keeping together. That the weight of that can just be released. Just becoming aware of the difference between feeling that embrace, feeling that support around us, and what we are aware of, what we're seeing within. And maybe there is no difference. So, what do we see when we look from that state of being held? How do we see others when we feel so safe and secure and supported ourselves? Maybe we can bring those two places like two dots together, seeing outside of ourselves, being aware of others, and receiving, being able to receive all of the help and the support and the love that we need. So let's imagine those as two dots, two central places, two kernels. That we just gradually come into one. So we're seeing with loving eyes. Our thoughts are coming from that place of safety, of generosity. And forgiveness. Now it's starting to feel like, rather than bringing two separate places together, it's understanding that they're two sides of the same place. That place of stillness and presence. An absolute calm. And feeling how there are no real limits. Our mind is entirely free feeling how smoothly we can travel and allow ourselves to be entirely at peace as the part of us that's aware, as the central, deepest part. With no need for thoughts. Let's just become aware of how all of our minds are merged, that we don't need to seek to be connected because we already are. Just allowing ourselves to feel that togetherness. A sense of gentleness, openness, expansiveness. Allowing ourselves to be at one with each other. And sometimes that can feel like a threat, almost like we're allowing energies into ourselves and allowing ourselves to be invaded. We just have to have that faith and trust and allow that resistance to soften itself until we feel the memory of sharing and solidarity and how good it feels to be together, to share our minds, to share our experience. Become aware of that glowing light, that white light of heart energy, of who we are, and how perfect that is, how beautiful it is. And that when we know that in ourselves, we know it in each other. We feel it extending between us. We know ourselves as that part of ourselves that's one together, sharing, dissolving our awareness of our ego and our selfness. We become that part that envelops each other. We know that part of ourselves because that's who we are. And we can really become aware of the joy of that, celebrating that, and being grateful for who we are. Grateful for how beautiful we are. Let's just allow that this truth of who we are stays with us. And every time we come here, we're more strongly living it here in our lives. And just feeling how much of a relief it is to know that that's who we are. It can't change. It's an eternal truth. And that even if we have times when we go back into our ego and we get upset or emotional, that doesn't mean anything because it's not who we are. And we don't have to try to be who we are because we are who we are already. We don't have to feel bad about going into the other because it's not real. And we're just going to take that sense of peace and just begin to open our eyes and see each other physically. and allow that our vision is now coming from that deep place, our physical vision. Nothing is lost. And we can share if you want to share.
That was great. It was really nice.
Yeah, it had a, I like that sense of the merging of the two.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really powerful. It's like the two perspectives.
Mm, yeah. I felt there was sort of some more depth to that, but it was, yeah.
Kind of like two directions, isn't it? The outward and the inward.
Yeah. And yet they're kind of like the same when you go into that still center, they just become
Mm.
like, yeah.
Just the being.
Mm. And then I suppose it's the same as when you when you then think of other people, like it's another, it seems like another step, but it's really just another facet
Mm.
of the whole.
Yeah, it's kind of just the same continuum.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. Like a bridge.
Yeah.
It's reminding me of something. I had this really cool I was trying to explain it to mum the other day, but it's kind of really hard to sort of explain. But I got onto the thinking of it because I was thinking about that, when we do things that are kind of from God or from that divine
Mm.
source, it's like when they're truly from that, it's like we're not even really aware of it,
Yeah.
like we don't even really like that part of ourselves. And then I was like, well, the part of ourselves that's not aware must be the part that's not really real. And that's our ego. That's kind of our, but that is our sort of individuality.
Yeah.
So then following that on, so really the part of ourselves that's real is the part that connects with others
Mm.
like that, because that's what you're sort of doing when you do something
Yeah.
like that.
It is already connected. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like kind of like not at all what we sort of, because we're always trying, and then that thing about the caterpillar and the butterfly makes sense because we're
Mm.
always trying to like figure things out and do things as a caterpillar, but it's not that at all.
Yeah.
Like it's not about that at all. It's like just about in a way reaching the butterfly and just,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was really like I could just really feel it, when you feel
Yeah.
these things and it's like amazing and you're like, oh my God. But then you can't really explain, because I suppose it's the ego that's trying to explain it then, isn't it?
Yeah. Trying to analyze it and
Understand.
mm.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Can't really be put into words.
no. And you have to accept that part of us that's always wanting to be better, and it's just not it's not that, because it's not
Yeah.
that.
Can't.
It's, yeah, it's not really about being an individual at all. It's,
Mm.
it's about the times when we're not, when we're
Yeah.
like, when we're truly sharing with others.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, it's really amazing when you kind of finally sort of click with that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something, the reality of it is something completely different from
Yeah.
people's idea.
Yeah. And then you sort of realize that all the things that you've done, that how kind of infused with ego they all were, because they were so about that, about being a better individual, but it's not it's not
Yeah.
about being an individual really at all.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Mm. Yeah.
Are you wanting to unmute, Mum? I'll ask you both.
Did Dan manage to connect?
Yeah, she's there.
Yeah. Hi, Anne.
Hi, you guys.
Hi.
Hi, Anne.
Hi.
Hi, Maris.
Hi, Anne. I can't, oh, there you are. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
it's lovely to see you. It's absolutely lovely to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Maris.
Good. Good.
Yeah, I'm excited to see you guys.
Yeah, I'm glad we Tammy thought to do this again. I don't know
Yes.
why
It was
we
really
stopped.
Anne.
Oh, it was Anne. It was you that
Yeah,
oh,
Anne made us,
excellent. Well
pushed
done,
us.
Anne.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
Uh,
I wanted to share what I saw.
yeah.
What I was a vision. There was no individuality. I wasn't an individual. It was like I was floating and I turned and on the backside of me was Maris. And I
Wow.
turned again and on the backside would be Camille. Or I
Wow.
turn again and on the backside of me would be Gaby.
Mhm.
That's
So, and
amazing.
white light. And we were like dancing in this fog of white light.
Wow.
Wow.
that sounds wonderful. Sounds
Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah, I can imagine that.
And lots of love. Well, there was no separation.
Hmm.
Mm.
I couldn't
Yeah.
separate us.
Yeah.
So it was nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yes. It is amazing when we let, I can't, it's so crazy how resistant we are, though, isn't it, to that? Like, there seems no reason to be, but I
Well,
suppose,
it's quite a lot in this crazy
yeah,
situation.
yeah, it's our world, I suppose. But yeah, it's funny to see how easy it is, though, really, to not. I heard somebody saying that the other day, and it really made sense that we can't like search for the connection because it's already there. It's just like, becoming aware of it, really. Like you say,
Yes.
Anne, you don't have to create it, it's already there.
Mm.
Yes. Yes.
And the best people are not types like me who've had careers. And I always think, I was going to tell you before, my mother had a cousin, Lizzie. All she did in her life was she took care of her old mother and anybody in the family that needed taken care of. And they lived in a house that I don't think it even had running water. I'm not sure, but she certainly her laundry. She always used to go to the public one, and we all thought, oh, poor old Lizzie, poor. But she actually, when I think of her now, she was the best person I've ever known.
Mm.
She just
Wow.
spent her life
Giving.
sharing, giving, yeah. And she was in the Salvation Army. She used to go to the Salvation Army on a Sunday and sing.
Wow.
I mean, she was better than any of us because she just did what she did without trying and just what was there to do. What else can
Wow.
you do?
Yeah. I suppose we all get there in the end. So you just
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
like, yeah, but yeah, it is like the way that what we value here is not really what is actually valuable.
That's it exactly. It's the street
Yeah.
sweepers that are more valuable than anybody.
I think it's just kindness, isn't it? Like,
Kindness, yeah. If they do it with love, yeah. In fact, you can do anything. in the right way or the wrong way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's not the kind of levels of it. It's not
No.
whether you're rich or poor or anything. Yeah,
I
it's just
loved your idea of when you're in your right mind, so to speak, that's when you see with vision.
yeah, it's from that source.
Yeah.
But it's so true because where you are is what you see, isn't it? It's like there's no difference really
Yeah.
between the two. I suppose that's why it's important to get into that place as often as we can so that we start to see it outside of ourselves more.
Yeah, because vision is really a kind of knowing rather than
Yeah, exactly.
this sort of questioning or seeking that we
Yeah, or perception as
that
such. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a kind of way of recognizing.
Yeah. That's what
Yeah.
Gaby was talking about. Decisions that you just know. You just know what the right thing to do is.
Mm,
Mm.
yeah.
And how for me was how important it is to get to that place of stillness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It just takes some focus.